It's British Motorsport's big day, Silverstone's big occasion, and always a time of extreme tension in Formula One. The final countdown to the British Grand Prix, round 8 of the Formula One World Championship, and taking us through it, Martin Brundle and James Allen.
When the lights go out, the British Grand Prix will be going. Away they go, good start by Raikkonen, and look at Alonso already looking in his mirrors to see where the McLaren was. The two Ferraris tucking behind. Someone's made up a lot of ground. It's one of the BMWs has made up a couple of places. A tremendous start then by one of them as they pour down towards Maggots for the first time, and it's Raikkonen leading this race for Michael Schumacher in second place. Massa, I think, is in fourth place with Fisichella up in fifth.
Oh, hello everyone, and welcome back to Racing Past. My name is Freddie, as we are sending it through Maggotts and Beckett side by side at the British Grand Prix of 2006, pretending to be Fernando Alonso. Going to try and pull some Fernando magic here by starting, I think, second to last on just a random grid position generator, and we're going to try and make our way through to win the British Grand Prix. I believe he did in 2006, although he did start from pole position, and I think that was his 5th win from 8 races that season, so he was pretty unstoppable during the first half of 2006 as we get a little bit of contact with was that a Midlands? I'm trying to re-familiarise myself with the 2006 teams and drivers. So yeah, and this is all because this is part of Reese's new update for Automobilista, which is 1.6.9.8 or something. And this is free. This is all free. It's fantastic. I don't understand how they do it, but it's phenomenal, really. And I think, for me personally, it was sort of timed quite well, because I've had a bit of time away from doing videos, and only because I was busy at work, went on holiday, and then I think at the time of this recording, which is the 4th of July, I had my appendix out maybe like 4 days ago, so I'm a little bit sore. You feel a little bit sorry for yourself. And when I find anyway, when you're looking for comfort, I go to nostalgia. You go back, you get your old PlayStation out, you want to play some old games, just something familiar, something safe, right? And I've got my collection of Formula One games starting from there's some 96 on the PS1, and they're all the way up to, I think, 2020 on the Xbox One. And of course I've got the PS2 out, and I've got all the F1 games on PS2 from, I think it's Career Challenge, which is 2000, and then they stopped at 2006. So I was already looking to play this sort of era, and you put them in the PS2 and you go to play it on your TV, and it doesn't upscale quite right because I haven't got a proper upscale, I've got a cheap one. So we go for a move on the Midlands, down the inside, and not quite. I've taken off quite a lot of aero on these cars. I always find with AMS2, the base setup, it always, I find, has a load of aero. I find this car does handle a little bit better without quite a lot of it taken off. Certainly gives me, on the straight, we're going to show him the exit there on the cross on the right there. Certainly some younger Fernando, aggressive driving, but it worked for him then, it should work for us now. So yes, I was already sort of by chance looking at playing this sort of era of racing, and you, like I said, you put your PS2 on your up-to-date TV, and it doesn't scale up right, and it doesn't look as good as you thought because you're looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. Until then I realised that Reese did this, and this is what we want, right? This is just our old games, but they are now modern, and you can just plug in and play, and they work, and the AI they make you work for it. I'm working up a sweat here. So we're going to go down the inside, down the hang straight, without less error on. We should just breeze past as we do. I'm not entirely sure what position we're in, and with the cars not being as performance limited by what they were in 2006, I think we're going to struggle to get to the front quickly. So I'm hoping for a top 10, as I always do. I think it doesn't matter what series I'm doing. That seems to be the limit of my ability when starting from the back, but there we go. But yeah, this has basically been timed perfectly. So we are only doing a 20-minute sprint, as it were, just because that's as much as I can do, feeling a bit sore still. And really, actually, I was looking for some sort of relaxing, like, sim racing to do. Because they had announced that a new historic GT pack was coming. I was sort of waiting for that. I very quickly got bored, and I thought I'll just give this a go, because this is, by the way, free. I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but this is all free, the F1 stuff. It's mad, it's fantastic, it's free. No, there should be no reason why you're not playing this, because it's brilliant. And then being able to get the Renault license to do the R25, which is the V10, last the V10, the R26, which was the V8 which Alonso won his championship in 2006, and then the R28, which would be the 2008 car, which would have been the last of that sort of regulation where they had loads of aero bits and pieces. So we ran into the back of the Red Bull there, which would be either days of the Coulthard, which I can see his helmet actually, that is DC. Would have been Christian Clear in the other one, or Christian Albers, I can't remember. Again, trying to remember all the drivers and teams from the 2006 F1 seasons. We go down the inside, but he's going to hang around the outside, and even for Fernando Alonso, that is quite a bold move. But yeah, there's so much for this update, and a lot of it free. It's just the impending GT historic pack that's to come. There's a historic race DLC pack which has been as he's run wide, I'm going to go down the inside. I think he's still there on our left. I'm going to try and outbrake him and get the move hopefully done. No, he's still there. He's making us work for it. I'm going to try and keep him tight to the left, and we're going to outbrake him down the outside. Lovely stuff. Yeah, so there's already a historic track pack part 4, which has Barcelona from 1999 and 2001. It's got Imola from 05, Indianapolis from 01, and Spielberg from 01. So now there's a lot of potential to do a lot of noughties, GT and Formula 1 racing, which is, for me, in my books, just perfect. I'm fairly sure whoever's working at Reza must be my age, because they are catering for my addiction perfectly. But yes, so they've managed to license the R25, R26 and R28 from Renault, and then within those packs, so the R25 is the V10 Gen 3, the R26 is the V8 Gen 1, and the R28 is the V8 Gen 2. And then within those, we go down the inside of the other Red Bull, and we take him off as well as ourselves, but that's just our young Fernando aggression, so we'll let that go. Yes, within each of those categories, there's another, including the Renault, there's 3. So you've got the Renault car, then you've got cars that are running Bridgestone tyres and cars that are running Michelin tyres because of the tyre wars back in the noughties. And looking at the update log, they do have different characteristics when racing, as they would have done then. I think sort of certainly when the conditions changed from dry to wet. I can't remember if it was the Michelin or the Bridgestone intermediates, which is a bit naff, and just teams didn't use them. So for one tyre manufacturer, they just used dry tyres and the wet tyres. The intermediates weren't even considered. So that really brings like a whole, I can't even explain it, whole sense, whole depth of strategy that, I mean, what other games would you ever get that in? Where they've modelled that into the game. I think it's phenomenal. It's just, again, every update that Reza does with Automobilista, and I don't know why I don't play it as often, really. I mean, I know I'm doing my 1966 season in Assetto Corsa, which is taking up all of my time, plus any extra time I have. Just being able to come to this and just race in a 2006 British Grand Prix, which took me no time to set up at all. And then I just downloaded a skin pack to have all the other cars with their real-world liveries as opposed to just the Renaults having the license. And here we are. Like, it doesn't get any more messy than this. And the fact that it's just a 20-minute sprint, I mean, I could have gone for if I wasn't feeling so sore, maybe a whole Grand Prix with pit stops and stuff. I think in the 2006 race it was just dry, but let's say we wanted to add in some dynamic weather, and then depending on what car you're in, depending whether the choice of tyres would work better depending on what the conditions were. You know, whether you're running Bridgestones or Michelins, one of those, the intermediates might be completely naff, so the weather changes, you know, it's exactly the same for when it was in 2006. It honestly blows my mind the amount of detail that you can get in these games these days. It is absolutely phenomenal, and I just don't think it's just not talked about enough. It's really what the AAA title games that are coming out at, well, since the release of a certain GTA, as we go down the outside, it's not quite going to work. Now, once again, an incredibly bold move even for Fernando's standard. Hopefully we'll get a good slipstream down the hangar straight. Yes, I was going to try and get down the inside, it's not quite going to work, and I'm going to chop across, and I have to do all that work again as we get a little bit wide. Of course using ABS and traction control as the cars did back in the day. I'm pretty sure they did in 2006. I hope they did, because I wasn't cheating. But yeah, certain new games are now coming out at like £120. You know, and I I'll put it on, but I think I paid about 16 quid because I bought some other bits and pieces as well. Yeah, I paid just for the tracks. Like, again, these cars are free, and again, this is what really the standard user expect from a AAA title game costing X amount. But again, they are just blowing them out the water, and I really don't think anyone's talking about it's half as much as they should. But yeah, so I'll also try it. Didn't have had some time off. I've tried to, as we're going around the outside now actually, I'll finish this ramble. We'll try and make it stick. He's still there. But we'll have the inside of this sharp left-hander. Again, we'll show him the exit. Hopefully we'll get a run around this. Quite tricky right-hander actually, deceptively tricky. It does look quite easy, but it really isn't. And then try not to clobble? That's a word, isn't it? Try not to hit those curbs too hard because they do upset the car. Right, let's try and catch up with these last pack of cars, I think. I'd like to think we're in the top 10 now. I don't think there's too many laps left to go in this 20-minute session. Also, we are closing up this pack slowly and steadily, but we're probably going to run out of laps before we do. I think we reckon we've got about 3 laps remaining of this 20-minute sprint race, as I suppose that brings it up to the current rules and regs for the Silverstone weekend. We won't go there, But I guess this is a good time to sort of summarise, even though I think I've said everything I'd like to say, but perhaps I can try and make it a bit more cohesive. I think essentially Automobilista 2 at this moment in time is the best value for money you can get in sim racing. And I don't think I can reiterate this enough, but these current Formula 1 cars on Automobilista 2 are free. They're part of the base game. You can race them at whatever, I can't remember what tracks are also in the base game. But yeah, the R25, R26 and R28 are all free. They are all licensed to Renault Formula 1 cars. And then, like I said, they have the Bridgestone cars that are non-licensed ones and the Michelin cars that are non-licensed ones that both handle independently depending, of course, on the tyres. Now, if you are looking to buy this game, now would be the right time to do it, because even though this game would normally be about $34.99 at full price, it is currently half price because of the Steam Summer Sale. Now, even full price, I'd say that's quite a good deal for what this game is, let alone it only being £17.50. So if you are thinking about getting into sim racing or looking to branch out into a different sim, just try something else out, I'd highly recommend, with the amount of updates that are coming as well. It's exciting times for AMS2. And then even with, get this game and get a DLC pack, like the Historic Track Pack 4, which I think is about $7.99. That then gets you a lot of noughties tracks for these cars. Then that's hours of gameplay ready to go. I know there are other games that do have a lot of noughties F1 cars, like Assetto Corsa has quite a few mods, and I'm sure there are other ones that also do. And again, Assetto Corsa isn't impossible to mod, and I do find it quite easy out of all the games to mod. It's just a lot of dragging folders and stuff and whatever, but if you're not confident with that, then this game, plug in and play, requires nothing apart from just load up here and off you go. As we are now overdriving the car, trying to catch up to the pack in front, but I do think, unless something happens, they are all quite bunched together. I do believe this is where we should finish.
Started out looking like a Renault cakewalk, but they've turned it around, Ferrari and Bridgestone. Michael Schumacher coming through to claim victory. Michael Schumacher wins!
Well, here we are then, coming up to the final sectors. We've not quite caught up to the cars ahead. I do believe, I think, we are 10th. Exactly, so again, we've achieved our goal of another top 10 here at Silverstone in 2006 as Fernando Alonso, only 10 places behind where he should have finished, but I'm not really Fernando Alonso, and there we are. So thank you so much for watching, I really hope you enjoyed. Please do go pick up Automobilista 2 if you haven't, get the free update, buy a DLC of the Track Pack 4, and you're going to be in for an absolute blast. So thank you so much, take care, and I'll catch you next time.